But at the end of the day, John Summerall wants to create his own legacy. And I think he has the personality to do it. He's the type of person that will be remembered for years, but you could be remembered in a bad way for somebody that never did what you were supposed to and meet expectations.
By the way, thank you for making that little clip famous. Drop the maybe because I like the question. What actually happened that you got that maybe because?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and I was simply asking John Summerall, just how excited he was to play in the Swamp because he played in the Swamp when he was at Kentucky. But in my question, and I had the correct year in front of me, no excuses, right? Literally the correct year was in front of me. I just said the wrong year, and he knew what I was talking about. He knew that he played in the Swamp, but he wanted to go with it, and whatever year I said, he was like, and that year I wasn't playing football, but I was coaching or whatever. So, he just went with the flow, and I honestly like that. Look, you could probably tell I'm a personality guy.
Yeah, I can tell.
I think especially in the introductory press conference, you want to win the fans over, be yourself. And, obviously, some coaches would not do that because they don't want to offend the media, especially somebody as young as me. But honestly, you shouldn't have to alter what you say because you're afraid somebody is going to have their feelings hurt. Show off your true colors. John Summerall won the fans over for a lot of reasons, but like you said, because of that quote. And so I said, well, maybe I'm wrong, but still answer the question. He's like, no, you are. Don't say maybe. You are wrong. Drop the maybe because that was funny. And, again, like I'll say this. I think a lot of people my age in the journalism school, they would have ran back home, and I wouldn't say they would have left the business, but they would have been hurt. And I think it would have affected them. That in front of tons of people, in front of Scott Strickland, in front of Urban Meyer, in front of Steve Spurrier in that room, you made a mistake like that, it would have really brought somebody down, ruined their day, ruined their week, maybe even ruined their month. It didn't for me. I just capitalized on it. I started tweeting, dropped the maybe because, and I owned my mistake, right? But you can't let one mistake derail you. And it was a good question. I just said the wrong year, right?
Do you believe, which I know the answer, I'm just asking this question for Gator Nation. Do you believe that John Summerall understands the Gator culture? And
absolutely.
Do you think he really, really understands, or is it just he's adapting because he's given himself time to understand the culture?
I think he definitely understands. I mean, when he was in the conversation to accept the job, right, before he actually accepted the job, he spoke to guys like Danny Werfel and Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. And, again, I know that like all three of those guys that I mentioned have ties to UF. So, of course, they're going to say, I vouch for John Summerall. Right? They're not going to say, I didn't want him. But I think John Summerall's made an effort to meet people in the community and especially meet the guys that once stood in his shoes, like Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. So, again, we don't know what is a PR campaign and what is not a PR campaign. But I'll tell you, John Summerall loves wearing the Gators logo, right? And we mentioned the gauntlet, right? Likes the Gator logo enough, but wants his players to earn it.
Which is another thing that Urban did back in the day. He made the kids earn to wear that logo.